Your father did business with Hyman Roth. Your father respected Hyman Roth, but your father never trusted Hyman Roth.
This warning comes from Frank Pentangeli, one of Michael Corleone's most loyal captains, and Michael ignores it completely. Weeks later, machine gun fire rips through Michael's bedroom. His wife, Kay, dives to the floor while his children are sleeping down the hall. The assassination fails, of course, but the message is clear. Someone wants Michael Corleone dead. The obvious question is, who ordered the hit? But the real question, the one that drives the entire second half of The Godfather Part 2, is how Michael figured it out. What I'm about to show you is one of the most sophisticated psychological operations in cinema history. A series of calculated traps designed to expose a man who's been deceiving people for 50 years. Michael Corleone versus Hyman Roth, and Roth never saw it coming. By 1958, Michael Corleone controls an empire. Casinos in Nevada, business interests stretching to Cuba, politicians in his pocket. He's moved the family out of New York and into legitimacy, or so he believes. Hyman Roth is his partner in all of this, an elderly Jewish gangster who worked alongside Michael's father during Prohibition. Roth presents himself as a mentor, a man ready to pass the torch to a younger generation. He calls Michael son. He offers guidance. He speaks of legacy. Then gunmen open fire on Michael's home. Michael survives.
In my home! In my bedroom where my wife sleeps! Where my children come and play with their toys. In my home.
Michael survives, but now he faces a problem with no easy solution. He suspects Roth, but suspicion isn't proof, and Hyman Roth has been playing this game since before Michael was born. So how do you trap a man like that? Michael's first move is subtle. He travels to Miami to visit Roth at his modest home. The setting itself is part of Roth's performance. A small house, a quiet neighborhood, his wife, Marcia, making tuna sandwiches in the kitchen. Everything designed to say, "I'm just a simple old man." Michael sits across from Roth and delivers a lie. He tells Roth that Frank Pentangeli was behind the assassination attempt. Says Pentangeli is a dead man. Now here's what you need to understand. Michael never suspected Pentangeli. The hit on his compound was too organized, too professional. Pentangeli runs a crew in New York. He doesn't have the reach or the resources to pull off something like that. Michael isn't sharing information. He's fishing for a reaction.
These small potatoes.
Watch Roth when he says this. He barely looks up, doesn't stop chewing his sandwich. A man just told him he's about to kill someone, and Roth treats it like background noise. Think about what this reveals. If Roth were truly Michael's ally, he'd support eliminating the man who tried to murder his protege. He'd show some investment in Michael's safety. Instead, Roth waves it off. Pentangeli's death means nothing to him. And that's the tell. Roth doesn't care about Pentangeli because Roth knows Pentangeli isn't the threat. The only way Roth could know that with such certainty is if Roth himself ordered the hit. Michael doesn't react, doesn't accuse. He files this information away and moves to his next test. Because one slip isn't enough. Michael needs Roth to keep talking, so he presses harder. He asks Roth directly, who gave the order to have Pentangeli killed? Roth doesn't answer. Instead, he tells a story. He talks about a kid he grew up with, a kid who looked up to him. They ran molasses together during Prohibition, made a fortune. This kid had a dream to build a city out of a desert stopover in Nevada. That kid's name was Moe Greene, and the city he invented was Las Vegas. Roth describes Greene as a great man, a visionary, and then his voice shifts. Someone put a bullet through Moe Greene's eye. No plaque in Vegas, no statue, nothing to remember him by.
This is the business we've chosen. I didn't ask who gave the order, because it had nothing to do with business.
On the surface, Roth is teaching Michael a lesson about professionalism. Don't hold grudges, don't ask questions, accept death as part of the game. But listen to what Roth is actually saying. He's telling Michael, I know you killed Moe Greene. I know you gave that order. I've been waiting years for this, and now I'm taking my revenge. This is the business we've chosen. Isn't forgiveness. It's justification. Roth is explaining why he ordered the hit on Michael's home. He's framing attempted murder as a professional courtesy. The mentor mask is cracking. Roth thinks he's being clever, wrapping a confession inside a parable. But Michael hears every word for what it is. Roth isn't letting go of the past. He's been nursing this grudge since 1955. The folksy wisdom, the patient teaching, the father figure act. All of it was theater. And Michael now has his confirmation. If you've been following closely, you'll realize that makes it 2 tests from Michael, but it still wasn't enough, not at this level. Now the scene shifts to Havana. Roth is celebrating his birthday at the Hotel Nacional, surrounded by American businessmen and Cuban officials. The mob is carving up Cuba like a birthday cake, and everyone wants a slice. Michael is supposed to deliver $2 million, his share of the investment, but the money hasn't arrived. Roth pulls Michael aside. The warmth disappears. The mentor act evaporates.
I'm going in to take a nap. When I wake, the money's on the table. I'll know I have a partner. If it isn't, I'll know I don't.
This is the real Hyman Roth. No folksy wisdom, no patient guidance, just a threat wrapped in a deadline. But here's what Roth doesn't know. Michael already had the money. Fredo brought it to Havana in a briefcase. Michael held it back deliberately. He wanted to see what happens when Roth doesn't get what he wants. A genuine partner would discuss the delay professionally, work through the logistics, show concern for Michael's situation. Instead, Roth issues an ultimatum: partnership reduced to a transaction. And that tells Michael everything. To Roth, Michael isn't a successor. He isn't a protege. He's a funding source. The $2 million finalizes the Cuban deal, greases the right palms, and locks in the territory. After that, Michael serves no purpose. The patient old mentor who speaks of legacy and partnership, that man doesn't exist. There's only Hyman Roth, counting his money and waiting for Michael to outlive his usefulness. Now let's talk about the image Hyman Roth constructed. The modest Miami home, the quiet neighborhood, his wife Marcia shuffling around the kitchen making tuna sandwiches, doctors constantly checking his blood pressure, monitoring his heart. Roth moves slowly, speaks softly. He presents himself as a man with one foot in the grave, ready to pass his empire to the next generation. It's a masterful performance. Who suspects a dying man? Michael does.
Been dying of the same heart attack for 20 years.
This single line reveals that Michael has seen through everything. The frailty, the medical scares, the talk of legacy and succession, all of it staged. According to the original script, Roth's bodyguard confirms the illness was fabricated. 20 years of pretending to die. 20 years of making people underestimate him. The sick old man persona served a specific purpose. It lowered Michael's guard, made him feel safe, made him believe Roth genuinely wanted to mentor him, prepare him, hand over the keys to an empire. But Roth never intended to share anything. He believes he'll live forever. The Cuban operation was never designed for Michael to inherit. It was designed to fund Roth's ambitions, while Michael funded his own funeral. Now at this point, Michael is obviously no longer naive, but he's the Don and a very astute businessman. And if there's one unique quality about him, it's his ability to see the bigger picture. Let me show you what I mean. Michael's car passes through a military checkpoint on the streets of Havana. Cuban soldiers have captured a rebel. Standard arrest. Should be routine. Then the rebel pulls the pin on a grenade. He doesn't try to escape, doesn't negotiate. He kills himself and takes a captain with him. Michael watches this happen in silence. Later, he shares what he observed with the American businessmen gathered for Roth's celebration.
The soldiers are paid to fight. The rebels aren't. They can win.
You see how the room went quiet? Nobody wanted to hear that. They've already committed millions to Cuban casinos, Cuban hotels, Cuban territory. The Batista government is supposed to guarantee their investments. Roth dismisses Michael's concern with one line.
Michael, we're bigger than U.S. Steel.
This exchange reveals everything about both men. Roth sees Cuba through the lens of money. Enough dollars can buy governments, generals, outcomes. He's built his entire empire on that principle. Why would this be any different? Michael sees something Roth refuses to acknowledge. Men dying for an idea cannot be purchased. Soldiers fight for paychecks. Rebels fight for belief. And belief is winning. This observation gives Michael another reason to delay his $2 million. Why invest in a deal that might collapse within weeks? Hours later, Batista flees Cuba. Castro's revolution succeeds. Every investment those businessmen made became worthless overnight. Roth's arrogance blinds him to reality. Michael's ability to read the situation on the ground saves his money and, more importantly, confirms his suspicion. Hyman Roth's judgment cannot be trusted. By now, Michael knows the truth. Roth ordered the hit. Roth wants him dead. The partnership is a performance. So why does Michael keep playing along?
My father taught me many things here. He taught me in this room.
He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
This is Vito Corleone's most dangerous lesson, and Michael executes it perfectly. He continues negotiations as if nothing has changed, travels to Havana for Roth's birthday celebration, sits across from the man who tried to kill him, smiles, and calls him a great man. Every gesture radiates trust. Behind that mask, Michael is accomplishing 4 objectives. First, he's buying time to identify the traitor inside his own family. Someone told Roth about Pentangeli. Someone gave the assassins access to the compound. Michael needs that name. Second, he's forcing Roth to maintain an exhausting deception. Every lie requires energy. Every performance creates opportunities for mistakes. Third, he's mapping Roth's entire network. Who visits, who delivers messages, who carries real influence. Fourth, he's positioning his men for the eventual strike. Here's the irony. Both men are executing the same strategy, both pretending friendship while planning murder. The difference is simple. Michael is better at it. Michael has confirmed Roth's betrayal. But one question remains. Who inside the family gave Roth access? Someone told Roth about Pentangeli's complaints. Someone helped the assassins reach Michael's bedroom. Someone close enough to know the compound's security, the schedules, the vulnerabilities. Michael doesn't launch an investigation. He doesn't interrogate anyone. He simply keeps Roth close and waits. When Fredo arrives in Havana, Michael asks a simple question. Does he know Johnny Ola? Does he know Hyman Roth? Fredo says no. They go out that night. Havana's New Year's Eve celebration. Drinks flowing, music everywhere. Fredo relaxes. The alcohol loosens his tongue, and then he makes a fatal mistake.
Johnny Ola told me about this place. He brought me here. I didn't believe it, but seeing is believing, huh?
I see it and I still don't believe it.
$50, Pat. Old man Roth had never come here, but old Johnny knows these places like the back of his hand.
Fredo freezes the moment he realizes what he's said. Michael's expression doesn't change, but everything has changed. Fredo lied. He said he didn't know Johnny Ola, but Johnny Ola took him to nightclubs, shared inside information about Roth's habits. That level of familiarity doesn't happen by accident. If Fredo lied about knowing Ola, he was hiding his connection to Roth, and if he was hiding that connection, he's the traitor. Michael didn't need torture, didn't need threats. He trusted human nature and alcohol to do the work for him.
You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
The trap is complete. Remember, early in the film, Pentangeli gave Michael a warning.
Your father did business with Hyman Roth. Your father respected Hyman Roth. But your father never trusted Hyman Roth.
Michael heard those words. He continued the partnership anyway, flew to Miami, negotiated in Havana, called Roth a great man, and nearly died for it. Vito's instinct was right. He understood something about Roth that Michael had to learn through blood and betrayal. The assassination attempt in his own bedroom, the discovery that his brother helped plan it. These were lessons Vito could have delivered with a single conversation. But some wisdom cannot be inherited. It has to be earned. There's a deeper irony buried in the Godfather mythology. In a deleted scene from Part 2, young Hyman Sukowski meets Vito Corleone on the streets of New York. Vito suggests he rename himself after the famous gambler Arnold Rothstein. Vito Corleone gave Hyman Roth his name. He helped create the legend, and the man he created would spend decades building toward one goal: destroying Vito's son. The father's casual kindness becomes the son's mortal enemy. There's a devastating poetry to that. Every test Michael conducted was invisible. The questions about Pentangeli, the delayed money, the observations about Cuban rebels. Roth never realized he was being examined. He thought he was manipulating a young Don who trusted him. In reality, Michael was cataloging every tell, every slip, every reveal. Both men kept their enemies closer. Both pretended friendship while planning death. But only one survived to see the consequences.
Give me an absentee ballot.
Hyman Roth claimed to be bigger than U.S. Steel. He ended up bleeding out on an airport floor, gunned down before he could testify against the Corleone family. Michael didn't defeat Hyman Roth through violence alone. He let Roth defeat himself. Every lie Roth told became evidence. Every mask he wore eventually slipped. That's the lesson. The greatest deceivers are undone by their own performance. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on The Godfather Part 2, subscribe for more.